Hello, hello, and welcome to the CTB Show. It is 1 week away from 420.
Nice.
The weather, very spring-like. My third thing is TURTLE powder on sale tomorrow. Welcome to the show. My name is Casey the Kasem. That is Bryan the Mayor.
Now, is that powder like the DVD of the motion picture, or what is this powder on sale tomorrow?
I don't fucking know, man, and that is Casey the Levy.
Hello, Newman.
He does look Jewish. That's from Seinfeld, Casey.
That might be from Seinfeld. I'm not entirely sure. All right, another day, another week, another show for you. Oh, I got to give mad props, a.k.a. shout-outs to us. The most recent episode of Ziggy Gets It Wrong. It's the last of the lost episodes. Oh, just dropped yesterday. And or maybe it was today. I can't remember. But it was a very fine episode, and now the responsibility is on my plate to take the newly video recorded episodes of Ziggy Gets It Wrong and overlay a bunch of video clips, sound clips, etc. clips for YouTube so that tens of people can watch these episodes as good or as bad as they may be.
Hey, I don't want to be overly kind to us, but this last episode of Ziggy Gets It Wrong was as good as any episode of any LA improver talking about any late 80s to mid 90s science fiction television.
I think, what I would like to say is that we had hit our stride at that point, and then everything abruptly stopped for a very long time.
We're going to have to get that back.
I feel like some of the re-records, spoiler alert, were actually quite good.
They were.
Some of the references we made were out of time, so if you've listened to all of these episodes of that particular show,
but it doesn't matter. I still think Jackie Stallone jokes are funny.
Yeah, because now it's going to be a double, triple reference, because the most recent one that we recorded on Zoom, I referenced the fact that we referenced Jackie Stallone still being alive and nearly 100 years old, and I think she died during COVID, not of COVID, just of being olditis at 99 or something like that. It's pretty crazy.
I was trying to figure out what is the other outdated reference we made, like when we weren't talking. I figured it out. The answer is my living situation.
Right. My wife.
Who?
Well, what are you gonna do? All right. So on today's show, we actually have a very nice little pastiche of Baltimore topics and pop culture topics. Pop culture wise, I'm gonna talk about this QAnon doc on HBO because it is wild stuff. But before we do that, it's time to get to some little local topics. And Casey, since you're the guy in the chair, you're going to be the point man for introducing said topics. Take it away.
So you added this one, so you probably got to leave this one off. The speed cameras on I-83?
Correct. Yes, the death corridor, as I call it. There is never like a 3-day span of time during which I-83, particularly at the lower part when you're headed into the city where it gets nice and curvy and whatnot.
Where the Pepsi sign is.
Yes, the death sign, as we all call it. It is where a lot of these accidents happen, and people literally just go 75, 80 miles an hour bombing down 83 thinking like, oh, I'm never going to get killed. But a lot of people do, and tons of wrecks happen. And it routinely impedes people's ability to get to work on a daily basis or leave to go back to Pennsylvania where they actually live.
So I think what these speed cameras mean is that if you and your buddies are planning a Baltimore Grand Prix, maybe from 83 into the city around 695 back down through 83, you have about 2 to 3 weeks to implement it. I suggest a couple of checkpoints. Everybody has to go to Chaps or something, but Get this in before the speed cameras happen.
Yeah. So Bryan basically is telling you to kill yourself.
I don't have a car, so I'm not doing it. Someone else is going to have to.
You're going to be running really fast down 83 in an effort to beat these speed cameras.
I'm going to be asking somebody for a ride to Chaps. I'm going to be trying to get all these people to buy me sandwiches.
Right. So normally I am loath to the speed camera situation, especially in Baltimore City, where the apparent excuse is we're allowed to put these things within a half mile of any school, which means anywhere, basically. But on I-83 in particular, it's a very big safety concern, and people really need to slow down. And so long as the fine is based on a civil offense and it's $50 or whatever it is, like, go for it, dude.
Allow me to paraphrase a young Ms. Taylor Swift. You need to slow down.
That's exactly what she was talking about.
Haven't they done a bunch of studies that these speed cameras actually increase the accidents?
Oh my God, Casey.
No, I think, well, Casey, you might be referring to red light cameras.
Oh, yeah, red light cameras.
Which do increase rear-ending accidents. But in the case of your standard your I-83 or I-95 or wherever, they've got these like highway-based speed cameras. Like they do decrease the speed. I mean, look, for as often as we have accidents on the Baltimore Beltway or whatever, it's still a massive concern. But I think the weird thing is that they cut off the bulbs will flash it when you go 12 miles an hour over the speed limit. So everybody is just going to do 12 miles over the speed limit, or maybe 10 or something like that.
That's fine. You can control your car at 11 miles over.
Yeah.
If it's going to flash at 12, you do 11. You can control your car at 11.
I've always then make the fucking speed limit like 60 or whatever, because it's currently 50, I think, on most of I-83.
No, there's common knowledge, and common knowledge is you get plus 11. In my life, and maybe it's because I was in a horrible car accident in my mid-20s, I've never understood people who need to do that, like, over plus 11.
Yeah, people who are bombing 95 down 95.
I don't get it, man.
Yeah,
and I'm not talking about, like, doing 70 to 55. That don't bother me none. You know, doing 80 to 65. I get it. You know, and so is everybody else. But, like, once you start hitting, like, 85 in any position, no, it's scary.
Yeah, and a massive, massive shut up to those fucking motorcycle riders that do like 124 and they're zipping in between cars.
Right, because
I don't know how these people don't
you don't
get killed.
fuck them up. You get the guy next to you.
Right. That's exactly right.
And if it's a 70, don't do 85. Do 75 tops. It just makes me feel comfortable as the guy around you.
So yeah, for the guy that doesn't have a car, make him feel comfortable.
Well, I mean, I still drive.
I don't have a car. I'm just
Casey sold his car. I forgot about that.
Right, me and Casey, our carbon footprint is 0. It might as well call us Littlefoot, like that fucking dinosaur.
Or the band.
Oh yeah, that's Little Feet.
Little Feet.
You can be my Dixie Chicken.
Or the movie starring Gary Oldman, where he's a tiny little human man.
It's Brewster's Millions. That's not.
No, it's called Tippy Toes or something like that.
Oh! Gary Oldman, not Gary Coleman.
No, not him. Also a small human. R.I.P.
Emmanuel Lewis in.
All right, that is enough on speed cameras. Casey, what's the next topic?
So our next topic is that there's a pilot program in Baltimore where they're going to pay people $15 an hour to clean up the neighborhoods.
Yeah, so I feel like this should have been a position already. You know, neighborhood cleanup guy or lady or non-binary human being.
But what if you knew you could wake up at 9 a.m. You know, you could show up at some park in your neighborhood at 9 a.m. on a Sunday, work till 1 p.m. and walk away with $90.
Sounds great.
So is it just one person per neighborhood that's getting the 15 per hour?
So they're starting in the Coldstream Homestead Montebello neighborhood, and they're going to pay 3 people $15 an hour to clean trash.
So I didn't read the entire article. I did get the 3 people, $15 an hour metric. Is this an 8-hour gig, or is it just like part time or ad hoc, or what is
It's
it?
not. It's not really clear. I imagine. I can't imagine it being a full time gig. It's got to be
And
a part time gig.
follow up. Is this a neighborhood resident? Because it's only a matter of time. Because this sounds like that this is a job that is going to be staffed by minorities, right? This seems to be a minority outreach program. How long before some black dude shows up in fucking Guilford, ready to sweep the gutters and gets the cops called on him?
Right. There's a suspicious black man cleaning the gutters.
Yeah, at least in the pilot, it's neighborhood residents.
Okay, all right. Who's
that's
doing
fine,
this in Guilford?
I honestly think that it should just be like, we're gonna send you where the most trash is, I guess, because there are parts on the west side that are just like covered in it, like absolutely covered in it. There needs to be a permanent residential presence at the Lexington market zone. I've stood there and watched people just like eat their food and drink and just throw it on the ground around them, like not a fucking care in the world. It is so revolting to me.
Have they finished those renos yet?
They have not, but I have seen pictures of the impressive metal roof, and it is very metal and very roof.
We should go when they do that, right?
Absolutely. In fact, I think I want to kind of stop by there tomorrow or something. Just drive by and see what it looks like.
No, drive by. Don't get out of your
car. No, I love Lexington Market. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. But yeah, I think this is a good idea. I'm wondering if these people will be air quote independent contractors, or if they will be on the city payroll or something. Like, it's a pilot program. Are they going to get benefits of any variety or whatever? But also,
I doubt that.
It sort of doubles down on a thought that I had on a long ago podcast where I was like, hey, the city should set up some sort of program where, if white assholes on the neighborhood groups on Facebook are complaining about city property taxes, why not have a system where you can do something like this, log your hours, show proof of work, like big giant trash bags of things and stuff. I don't know, some way of proving that you've done the job, and then you get a rebate on your property taxes or something like that.
Well, there's a reason that, the fucking New Deal and all those public service jobs worked so well. Is because when you give people like a good job that they can see like the fruits of their labors, they fucking show up for it every day.
Yeah, immediate benefits and things like that.
Yeah, when you say, hey, by the way, you're here to build like the fucking like electrical system for this valley, and then they do it, and then they can see it, they love it. So say, hey, we're here to beautify, and we're just gonna do it.
You're talking about the New Deal nowadays. Like, they farm it out to contractors that don't really do much, or they do a shitty job, and then they go over budget, and they're like, sorry, earned value management manager guy, we gotta reconfigure everything, and we need to get a plus up on these funds.
Right. We paid you to collect trash, and what you actually did was dump toxic waste. Whoops, we're not giving that money back, and instead give it to people who will just pick up trash.
Yeah. If these three individuals, neighborhood-based individuals, were the example of a modern-day contractor, they'd be like, well, look, I know you were going to pay me $15 an hour to pick up trash, but we ran into a whole lot of stumbling blocks, and we're going to need more like $45 an hour, and also it's going to take me 16 hours a day to do this, so we're going to need to enhance the budget by 55%.
Just, yeah, like government we're gonna get to socialism one day. I just believe it. I just believe it.
What we used to refer to as civic duty is now called socialism. Where
Well, I mean, I don't want to talk down to you, but I am a college freshman, and I've taken some classes.
Oh,
and
he knows
let me
everything.
Tell you. Let me tell you. Socialism to me seems like a pretty darn good idea.
Oh, I see. You've been indoctrinated.
I've been indoctrinated, friend. I've I, I've got opinions, and they do not involve the murder of unarmed black men. So you know,
when and if you go back into meat space with your fellow 19-year-olds,
uh-huh.
when they discuss socialism, ask them, well, what are they doing to contribute to the system? Because that's at the end of the day, it's like everyone has to pitch in for it to work.
No. I've been telling all of my college friends, shoplift. You know,
Yes.
that's the answer.
Because,
Shoplift.
it's a victimless crime. Walmart's going to be able to pay for it no matter what. So
They have insurance, and generally, you're in college, you're white. They're never gonna prosecute.
they're not going to prosecute you.
They're not gonna
So
prosecute.
you just steal that like 24 pack of dipes, and then you take it to the community center so
If
everyone can have a
if
dipe.
the internet has taught me anything, if you shoplift, all you're gonna have to do is fuck the security guard, and then you're out of there.
Oh yeah, yeah. You give them a dime bag, and then you're out.
They're gone. You just no. I mean, like, there's a whole lot. Sometimes, like, your mom shows up and she has to also fuck the security guard. There's
Oh
a
yeah,
whole lot going
I've
on.
seen that movie.
I've seen that short film. Yeah, so like I said, we should get Lexington Market. We should finish that renovation.
It's true. Otherwise, for the neighborhood cleanup thing, I think it's a great idea. I think they need to expand these types of programs to include other things like mentoring youths. I don't know. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs that people aren't going to just volunteer on their own to like watch the kids, but unfortunately, we need financial incentives in this world that we live in.
Yeah, I mean, it's being funded through a $70,000 grant, so there's only so much that they can do. But
Well, look, 70,000. It's not a whole lot of money, but I think if you can produce a cleaner, greener, Cold Stream, Montebello, whatever, great, sounds good. I think the psychic effects alone are great. It's not like an accident that when you plant trees and have a neighborhood that's full of trees and doesn't have a whole shitload of garbage in it, crime rates aren't as high. Just the more you know.
Does this mean we're going to give the squeegee kids jobs picking up trash?
I thought that former not at all disgraced Catherine Pugh had like a pilot program where they set up like a little car wash in front of City Hall and like paid these kids some money to do that. Look, if they basically
the car wash, yeah.
Right, exactly. If they gave the squeegee boys like a couple bucks an hour to stand around and just wash people's windshields for free, and said to them like, you can accept tips but do not demand them, and if the person says no, don't fuck with them, but we're gonna pay you a couple of bucks an hour to stand around and do this.
And everybody recognizes that if the person doesn't show up with a $10 tip, they're the asshole.
Right. Yeah. But also, like, the all of the people. This is going to dovetail into sort of a rant about permitting in the city. The people that are the people that are like allowed to stand around on the street and sell you bottles of water to your car, during the summer, or bottles of soda or whatever it is, they have not pulled a permit with the city. I don't have any problem with that. I do have a problem with the fact that, like, if I wanted to grab a basket and fill it with soft pretzels and walk down to Cross Street Market and stand outside and be like, $3 a pretzel, how long do you think it would take until I got busted? I'm saying just like let people fucking do what they want to do. Not like selling hot food or street dogs or any of that stuff, but certainly,
Question.
packaged goods. Yes.
In your example, why did you choose soft pretzels when you actively make beef jerky to sell to people?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
The soft pretzels are delicious.
Mobtownmeatsnacks.me.
He's announcing he's expanding into Mobtown pretzel snacks.
Well, pretzel
Mobtown
snacks.
Pretz snacks?
Pretsnacks.go. You know why, Brian? Because I was reminded of the guy that walks around at the Renaissance Festival with the pole with all the giant, pretzels hanging off of it.
Look, I don't want to be too optimistic, but I'm telling you, a trip to the Renaissance Fair is in our future for this year, if it exists.
It's happening, and I already saw on the website, like, they've got the schedule laid out, and I would love to go to, like, Pirate Weekend or something like that.
I would love to go with you, and I know a couple of other people who also would.
Yes, I think we know a lot of mutual people that would love to go. Casey, next topic.
So there's a two-parter. The first one is that the Baltimore, they're putting it on the ballot to have the city police department back in Baltimore's control.
Yeah, hasn't been under Baltimore's full control since like 1860 something.
It's like the Civil War, right?
Yeah, it overlaps with that, but that's not the reason why. The reason why was there was a lot
Whose
of
control is it under then? The army of the
No,
Shenandoah?
I thought that was the entire point of why it was not in the city's. I thought they took control of the police department because they didn't want the city to defect or secede.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, but the quick read that I did, it was like that the corruption among the police officers that were being, I'm sorry, the like sheriffs and things like that were being put into power by the city officials were in the pocket of those people. So
as my grandfather always told me, the Union Army had to set up shop on Federal Hill and fire literal shit from cannons onto the people of Baltimore to keep them from rioting.
Well, that's how we got the name Mobtown.
That's right, because we're basically Springfield.
I thought we were Shelbyville in this example.
Well, no. Springfield's a mob. It's a thing.
Springfield. But
it's a heck of a town.
This is an interesting thing that came out of the State House. Basically, like Governor Hogan tried to veto a bunch of police reforms, including getting rid of the police officer Bill of Rights, air quote, which I do believe involves what they call qualified immunity, meaning if a cop, as they seem to be doing at an increased pace, shoots an unarmed human being, that they really can't be prosecuted. The majority of money that gets raised by the FOPs of the world go to lawyers for when they fuck up and do bad things. So removing qualified immunity from a police officer's role...
It doesn't.
It
specifically does not repeal qualified immunity.
Oh, okay, well, never mind. I hate it. What does it do, Casey?
So it's going to so there's three different bills. One is going to restrict the ability to get a no-knock warrant, which is kind of tied into a lot of issues.
Sure.
I think when we talked to Fenton about his book, the gun trace task force used a lot of no-knock warrants.
In some cases, they didn't actually have warrants.
In some cases, they didn't. It's going to more broadly require body cameras and limits when officers can use deadly force and change the police discipline process. So there's some good things. It just doesn't touch on qualified immunity.
Right. Well, okay. All right.
I keep watching. So, I mean, everybody's like looking at the Derek Chauvin shit. Chauvin, however you say his fucking name.
Yeah.
His trial this week. And then while that trial is going on in Minneapolis.
Yeah, another person got shot. And you had an army lieutenant get maced.
And the excuse used is...
I meant to use my taser.
Look, man, I gotta tell you, my first cousin is a fucking cop. Like, a dude that I've known since I was a kid. And I got a lot of feelings about it. You can't do it. You just can't do that. You can't say, I meant to use my taser and now he's dead.
Bryan, are you saying that you don't think it was an accident, or because
I don't think she meant to use her taser.
Oh, I disagree. I really do think she meant to use her taser.
Well, then how? Then how do you put them on the street if they're going to make that mistake? You can't make that mistake.
I really don't know.
And every time someone says it was a mistake, the cops can't kill people. That's not due process. That's not the fucking Fourth Amendment or whatever it is. Like, well, I'm sorry.
If it makes you feel any better, and it really won't, both that officer and the chief of police have resigned.
Yeah. And then I'd like to see the trial. And
I was going to say, but Bryan, during that trial, what do you think is going to happen? I mean,
I think they're going to put. I think they're going to put Dante, and I wish I could remember his name right now. I think they're going to put him on trial instead.
I don't know. I mean, I know there was like a warrant being served, or
do you know what the warrant was for?
It was a gun charge, I think.
No, it was for like he had like been smoking a joint in public and got written a ticket, and he couldn't like pay the ticket. So like they put him on a payment plan, and then because of like COVID, he went off of. And honestly, I am paraphrasing a meme, and like he couldn't pay the fucking weed ticket. And he got a warrant.
Well, either way, I will look more into it. And most of these shootings that happen, like they get commingled in my brain at this point because there's so many of them.
And it's fucking terrible.
But I did see the tail end of that footage, which fortunately for my sanity was blurred out. But I did hear the lady say like taser or something to that effect, and then oh fuck, I shot him. You know, it was I don't think that was an intentional.
So you think it's like? So you think she's going into this? All right, Sheila. Taser on her left. Taser on her left. Taser on her left. Taser on her left. She's like taser, 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 and she goes for her right because she's been saying tasers on her left for like 20 minutes.
Well, Bryan, I think what you're suggesting is that she deliberately reached for her gun instead, and then claimed she thought it was the taser.
No, yes, I think she deliberately reached for her gun, and I think that later, after the fact, when she had to get her story. She said it was a taser.
That's exactly what I just said. Thanks.
Well, I just wanted to make it clear that that's the sequence of events that I wanted to make clear.
Okay. Well,
all right.
At this point, I don't. This is one of those rare instances in which I think it was an accidental use of lethal force. But we'll see.
And I think she's saying I reached for my taser as an excuse.
Okay.
You know, it's.
And either way, she shouldn't have a job as a police officer if you're going to make.
She no longer does. She quit.
But also,
this was a person who's a 20-year veteran of the force. Like I don't know how you. It only takes one fuck up, really. I mean, and honestly, that's why I could never ever be a cop. And I would even be like, please don't give me a surface pistol. I don't want it. Give me a baton and maybe some pepper spray and perhaps a taser. But no pistols.
I cannot say that there aren't good cops because I got a cousin. I know he's a good man. What I got to say is when it comes time for them to say we fucked up, they fail every time.
Historically speaking, yeah.
You know, there are good cops. Why? I just need them as a fucking organization to like look at where they're fucking at. The individuals are not the problem. It's the infrastructure. It's the setup.
Yeah, it's certainly it's definitely the way that whatever way they've been trained for the last 30 years or so is all the way off.
And why can't they just admit it? Like, that's my question. Like,
you just can't.
There's so many good men and women going out in the community trying to help, but the fucking organization, the infrastructure, what they're taught, the attitudes are just so fucking off base, and they won't just say, all right, like, they just can't just take that, like, we hear you. We got it. We'll fucking fix it. They won't even say that. And they when they do, they're lying. Like, just give us a reason. That's all.
Hey, remember when that Justice Department decree came down on the Baltimore Police Department like 4 years ago?
And it just made that dude's job, in crime easier. Yeah. I just read a whole book about it. It was amazing.
Yeah. It was only a couple
one point
ago.
I want to clarify. So Dante Wright was pulled over because his tags had expired, and then during the traffic stop, they found that he had an outstanding arrest warrant. So I'm not sure what the outstanding warrant was, but I just wanted to clarify that because Bryan said something else earlier.
I think I had seemed to remember reading that it was a gun charge. Bryan says it was something about a weed ticket, but either way, he should not be dead.
The other thing that I was reading earlier today is that
he gets to face the jury of his peers every time.
He told his mother he thought he was being pulled over because of like the air freshener, and apparently there are states where you can't hang stuff from your rearview mirror,
right,
including air fresheners.
Look, it obstructs it's a safety concern Casey?
I will forever tell the story about how I was 16 and I got pulled over 2 minutes after smoking a joint in my car, like with a whole bunch of people, like looked at the cop and said, "There's no weed here." And he let me go. Like, right. These are not the teens you're looking for, as I just like, it was easy. It was easy.
Well, speaking of weed, apparently Virginia has now legalized it. So, as with all things, Maryland continues to look like the laggard in all things progressive. And at this point, is legalization of weed isn't even progressive. It's like, where are you even at this point? But
a road trip to Arlington, am I right?
Yeah, let's get in front of that Iwo Jima statue, baby. But this and they're now going to set up the infrastructure to legalize sports betting, which is like, what really? What year is it? Sports betting, really? And this is what was one of my pet issues, like back in 2004, because I was doing like online poker and losing all of my money. And then at some point, like the state legislature was like, no, you're not allowed to do that. And they made it illegal. And then
Did they give you your money back?
I think I had like 28 cents in my account at the time. So I was like, fuck this, whatever, I don't care. But at one point, there was this computer gaming site where you could like sign up and play against other people in games of Scrabble and wager like $1. And I was like, oh, that sounds really fun. It's it's skill based. It's not poker, which is skill based. But apparently it was illegal in the state of Maryland because they don't allow online gaming for money. And I'm like, who is this hurting? And I couldn't figure out why they had done it. And at the time, the little proto-libertarian in me was like, oh, they just want to figure out how to get their taste. And that's probably true. But at this point, now we're finally 17 years later coming around to sports betting. Awesome. Come on. Fucking state of Maryland can legalize so many more things if the budget is an issue and we want to like be number one in education funding and number one in blah, 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 blah. We could legalize a whole lot more.
I say, then let us buy some fucking weed and we'll be number one in fucking everything.
As a start.
And then like vacate all of those fucking convictions also.
But of course that too. But this is how, the more I've been thinking about it, how we are technically a southern state. That's how, like, the quote, Democrats that are in the state, like, they're not actually Democrats. They're kind of like just like Republican light.
Is that Dixiecrats?
I don't know what it is, but anytime you talk about like gambling or booze or prostitution or drug use, it's like, well, that's a moral failing and you're a moral failure and you should be ashamed of yourself. And it cuts across like the entire aging board of Democrats in the state of Maryland. And ironically, a lot of the Republicans are now, hey, we should legalize weed because it'll clear up the prison systems and we can get some taxes. All of which used to be a libertarian talking point, but now it's been co-opted.
Part of the reason why it didn't pass was they couldn't agree on how much to tax it.
28%. I don't fucking know. Like, who cares? Start out at 30, and then let them whine about it.
Right. I'm paying so many dollars for cigarettes these days. Can you imagine how much I'd pay for weed? Honestly, honestly, they could bring in an eighth at $35, make a whatever 100% of profits that is, and like it's still less than me, but I'll be buying Ace from them forever.
Yeah, as a cash crop, like the profits are unlimited. It doesn't matter how heavily it's taxed.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, Brian, but that's not how much it's going to cost.
I know how much it costs.
It's a lot more than that.
I'm saying I know that they could drop that price by $10 is also it. For what I feel like paying at the dispensary, I know how much this all costs.
They could, but they won't because they got to hire those armed guards to protect their mountains of cash because none of that shit is insured by the federal banking system.
And then all of a sudden, you let people use the fucking credit cards, and that shit becomes like that. Once you can start using plastic at the dispensary, that's when the prices drop.
Either way, It is now time to celebrate.
What?
Sorry, I had to cycle through the thing. It's now time to celebrate the internet sensation. Sweeping the nation.
One job.
Yeah, I know. It's time for shout-outs.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Shout-outs. This is the part of the show in which we give mad props, aka shout-outs, to persons, places, and things that are giving us jollies and improving our quality of life. Casey, what disappointing offerings do we have from the fam zone?
So, my shout-outs are to my fence. Finally got a fence. Put a down payment on it a year ago.
From
Finally
Long
got
Fence?
it. It's amazing.
Oh, I thought you
What'd
could
say?
finally sell those jewels you had stolen.
No, finally got my fence. It's great.
Different kind of fence. Got it.
Just let the toddler run around in the backyard and don't have to worry about him running into traffic.
We're getting
Casey,
groped by
all you gotta
cats.
do is put on a collar and a leash on a fucking clothesline and you're set.
Yeah, a runner, if you will.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
hadn't thought of that.
Well, that's why I'm a better parent. I don't know what to tell you.
But the you made a mention about the cats. No, the cats are still around. They have ways around that. My other shout out is the Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band. They have a new album out. It's great. Go check it out.
Okay, getting
Chris,
to the original question from the fam zone.
Yes, from the fan zone. Chris L says, shout out to White Claw Surge. Can't wait to get even seltzier this summer. Also,
Yeah.
where's Natty Light Seltzer?
We're getting back into the day and age where, remember when Alco Pops were the big hand-wringing thing? Is this not an Alco Pop? 8% Celsius?
What's an alcohol
Great.
pop? Like a popsicle?
No, Alco Pops were like Four Loko, Surge, or I'm sorry, Surge. Sparks.
There's an old Jimmy Buffett album where he talks about like the point of like certain like jungle juices or like just like punches where like to get enough alcohol in it along with enough juice as so like the girl doesn't know what she's drinking.
Mhm.
And like at this point the companies are just doing it for us. Like here's this 8% seltzer, drink 4 of them. By 4 p.m. you are passed out in an alley, and it's we got to stop doing this to our kids. Won't anyone think of the children?
Oh, yeah. From the makers of Four Loko comes Gorilla Balls. It's jungle juice in a can.
Oof. Honestly, sign me up.
Gorilla Balls, jungle juice in a can. Title of the episode.
Copyright, mail to ourselves. You can't steal it.
Nope. That's ours now. All right, Casey, I know we've got at least one more.
Bobby Dirk says, shout out to Urban Burger Bar in Whitehall Mill. Get a banana pudding milkshake. That shit is delicious.
Bobby Dirks! We've got one from Twitter from @BenPocalypse, top-tier fan of the show. Shout out to at least one more bonus week of spring weather. That 80-degree Fahrenheit Sunday was worrisome. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the 140-degree July and August that we're inevitably going to have. Ugh.
We would die. We would just like step outside and then immediately just like cook, right?
140 degrees? No, not quite.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty hot.
Yeah, I mean, it would take a while, but you'd have to stand still, like not move, not drink water, probably not breathe. I don't know. Yeah, you would eventually become a human-sized beef jerky. Ooh, that should be the title of the episode.
Human-sized beef jerky. I like it.
Bryan, what do you got?
I know you guys are sitting there thinking, boy, he's not paying attention. Truth of the matter is I am, but on top of that, I couldn't really come up with a shout out this week until your talk about what it's going to be like when it's too hot to live. My shout out is to the Twilight Zone episode, The Midnight Sun, about what happens when the Earth leaves its orbit and sends itself into the sun. There's a twist.
Big twist.
Sorry, I didn't have anything until you gave me some inspiration, but I find your inspiration to be good.
But that was a stellar episode of Twilight Zone because
It's an amazing episode.
As far as twists that come from the late 50s, early 60s, that was a fun one. Because hey, what if the twist was just the opposite?
That's the opposite. It's like the Midnight Sun. The monsters are doing Maple Street. Like those are the best. Hey, I need a drink. Can we take an actual break?
We can take an actual break, but I'm going to need you to set it up.
Oh, thanks. Hey, guys, when we come back, we're going to ask the question, was Bryan the asshole? We'll see you next time on the second segment of fucking The City That Breathes.
The answer may surprise you.
It probably won't. All right, we are back from break, and we are running short on time. However, we will make sure to cram in at least a little bit of pop culture beef for you all. And there is one thing that I want to bring up to the group that I don't think that the two of you have seen the entirety of, but QAnon documentary on HBO Max, Into the Storm. Holy crap, 6 episodes, 1 hour per episode, tells the story from beginning to what I'm calling the end of QAnon. Wow.
I haven't seen any of it, but I do follow an influencer who is a flat earther, so I feel like I got it.
No, Bryan, you don't got it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
This is some of the most compelling television I think I've seen in my entire life. The director has absolute access to the people that host Q, a.k.a. 8chan, a.k.a. Ron and his dad, Watkins, and Ron and Martin, I think, and the guy that created 8chan but sold it to them but then worked for them, and I can't remember his name, is Frederick something or other. But yeah, this director spent over 3 years documenting their lives and this and that and the other, and sort of surreptitiously trying to figure out who Q of QAnon was or is, and very much conclusively does.
And either way, conclusively confirms that it's bullshit, right?
Oh, a big time. Yeah, absolutely. But
here's a question: in such a way that the followers of Q would believe that it's bullshit.
I think there has not been a Q drop post by Q since December. So with 4 months gone by without any further Q drops, and a very coincidental departure from 8chan on the behalf of one Ron Watkins.
I heard that Q is coming back for the second season of Picard.
Okay.
Is there any truth?
Yeah, Q, the interstellar, interdimensional omni being, decided that it was going to be his mission to intermingle himself with humanity by posting on an internet image board.
What was the internet guy who said he was a time traveler and put a whole bunch of stuff on the internet? Like, here's the thing. So when I was a kid, and then when I got into radio, there's this show called like fucking After Dark, right? And it was like kind of the conspiracy theorist radio show, except it was just like alien stuff. Does the QAnon...
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, I haven't listened to it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. I listened to it because I ran it. Like, I ran the board for it. Like, does the QAnon doc, like, illustrate, like, what took it from this, like, late-night fun radio show to, like, dismantling American democracy?
What's interesting about the documentary is that you don't even get a sense of what the mission, if there was one at all, was. It was basically just like, they are literally trolling everyone. And after a while, it turned out that this thing caught on in a way that they did not anticipate. Or this is just what I'm assuming. And so they just kept, like, running with it. And all of a sudden, you find these people who are on YouTube, like, digesting each one of these posts in a way that, like, is incomprehensible. And these people made lots of money doing that.
So, like, so here's my thing. Like, I firmly believe that their kind of, like, fantasy and, like, weird politics shouldn't be illegal. But it also makes me severely uncomfortable that the internet makes it so accessible and profitable.
Oh, and convincing.
And convincing.
Yeah. So last word on the doc, because I don't want to spend too much time. But at the end of the day, what it all boils down to is like you kind of forget about the effect that the whole thing had on these MAGA idiots, and the story really is about these like three people and the director because he's involved, and just the interplay of vendettas and revenge and this and that and the other. It's fantastic. I cannot recommend it enough. QAnon Into the Storm.
It's been on my to watch list for a little bit and started to, and then got interrupted.
Yeah,
this weekend.
You lost
so.
R.I.P. your fridge for a moment.
R.I.P. fridge.
What happens? Some cats come move into it or something?
I think so. Like I think the cats struck back.
There were 18 cats in the back of the fridge eating.
Casey has an Alf living in his house.
Yeah. Ooh, no,
I need
an Alf.
I need an Alf to get rid of the cats.
He has a My Pet monster.
But then what do I get to get rid of the Alf?
Oh, right. A bear.
A bear. Okay.
If I remember correctly, a shady government organization.
Yes.
And
you need to get a shady government organization for your house after you get your Alf.
And a lack of contract pickups.
Yeah. All right, what's next on the pop culture docket before we say goodnight?
So we're all up to date on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Do we have any thoughts on? I think there's 2 episodes left.
Yeah, I kind of wish I did. I'm enjoying it, but it's just a very sort of fun, straightforward, like, hey, Captain America's bad, and Winter Soldier and this guy are trying to do things. And
here's going to be the biggest problem about Falcon Winter Soldier. I fucking love Sebastian Stan. I fucking love Anthony Mackie, right? The show is fine. The end.
Okay.
So we're probably I'm gonna spoil some stuff. So
yeah, fuck it.
I'm assuming
Captain America died.
The thing at the end. Did you see the thing at the end coming where Walker just straight up murder the person who's supposed to be Captain America? Straight up murders. Somebody.
Yeah, Casey, I've read a fucking book.
Does that happen in the comics?
Oh no, I'm not even talking about comics. Just like I've seen television, I've seen the movies.
Okay.
Like, there's no way. First off, John Walker was. I would have been surprised. I would have been shocked. I would have been overjoyed if John Walker had made it out of this series as a squeaky clean good guy. That would have been if they had somehow managed to make this a show about race in America and who can be a hero, and they somehow managed to make the white guy still an okay guy, I would have been disappointed, but also shocked, and fucking that would have been surprising to me. Of course, John Walker was going to end up the bad guy. Sam's the good guy. Sam is the good guy.
I mean, I knew, you had to know that the new Captain America is going to do something. He's going to not be Captain America anymore, and then
and that's the thing that's really disappointing me, because regardless of whether or not it's Sam or it's Steve, the guy who is not our guy will end up being the bad guy, and then all of a sudden Captain America is cutting some guy in half with his shield. In the middle
of a crowd of people.
In a far
who are filming him. Now I've been enjoying not buying into all the speculation online, so I'm going to speculate wildly. I think that Walker is going to end up in some version of the Thunderbolts.
I think he's going to be the Legion of Doom.
And I want to make it clear.
The Justice League.
I want to make it clear that my problem is not that, oh, sure, it's a white guy that's going to be a bad guy. Is that it was just it's going to be it's completely predictable that John Walker ends up the bad guy, and they cheapen what they're saying about race by making it so predictable. They have there's a real question that's being asked and I think they're fucking it up. You know, like
I think you're thinking
sure.
entirely too much. Oh, great! You just went off camera.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Why does that happen, Brian? Why?
My phone wanted to tell me that I had 20% power left.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So how come you didn't plug your phone in?
I don't think that port is working anymore. It's fine.
Okay. Speaking of race relations, DMX is dead.
Oh, it's sad.
I'm pretty sad about it because his cover of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was very, very shiny in the nose region.
Rough murder.
So good. It's so good. Like it started out as a YouTube clip like years ago, right? And then he recorded like a full version because it was so popular.
I was gonna say, I don't know how internet
died.
memes live and breathe, but I'm glad that one happened.
I would say DMX died, and within like let's say 3 hours of his death, he had been memified. Like not mummified. He had been memified. Like the internet had turned him into some kind of golden god, and it was fascinating to watch.
He had 15 kids.
Prolific.
A lot of kids.
Prolific.
Woof. I can't imagine that. Hey, remember that movie where he was with Steven Seagal or whatever, and he had a shotgun, and there was a scene, or was it Steven Seagal? I can't remember, but there's a scene where he's like hiding behind some crates, and he's got a shotgun, and he ties his belt around it, and then he throws exit wounds. Was it Jet Li? Who was in that other than him?
Okay, so exit wounds.
Anthony Anderson.
Let's see. Steven Seagal, DMX,
okay.
Isaiah Washington. I think there's another one. I think you're thinking of another one that has Jet Li.
But
I think that's Cradle to the Grave.
Gotcha. He's got his shotgun with his belt around it. He's hiding behind some crates. He throws the shotgun on and pulls the belt, and it, for some reason, shoots the shotgun and kills some dudes. And I was like, whoa! And I think at the time I was like 17, so, that was impressive. Let's all share our DMX memories.
Wait, he was in 58 movies?
What?
I'm looking at his IMDb page. He's in like 58. He's 58 credits as an actor.
DMX.
DMX.
Can we go through like his top 10?
My favorite DMX cameo was in the Goldbergs.
His latest in 2020 is Chronicle of a Serial Killer
of Narnia.
So, like
he played Aslan.
Filming stuff.
Rough. Aslan.
Come on, Casey, hurry up.
Apparently he was in South Park as the chef's aide. Chef aide.
Oh.
1998.
That was 98. Very good. Very good.
Thanks.
So I already mentioned Romeo Must Die. Exit Wounds.
Belly. Belly is the one. Belly is the one.
Belly is one of them.
Not
Cradle
one
to the Grave.
Belly is DMX.
Yeah, no, nothing too, other than the ones that we know. There's nothing really good here. I was just surprised that he was still acting.
Yeah, but also a person who had at least a few falls from grace in terms of addiction and the dog fighting thing, which I don't think a lot of people remember that. But
I have no clue what you're talking about.
I forgot.
Yeah, animal cruelty charges and whatnot.
Huh.
Everybody remembers that about Michael Vick, but not so much DMX. But I will always remember him for the biker gang that he started.
He started a biker gang?
Yeah, the Rough Riders, dummy.
Okay.
Rough.
Oh man, all this reminiscing about death makes me a little angry.
Oh wait, no, we forgot the tease that I made right before this ended.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's do that first.
Why am I the asshole? Sorry.
Right.
Just because I feel like we
this
said
time.
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah, how come you're the asshole this time, Brian?
All right. So Jess and I were walking around Hamden, right? Mm-hmm. And I was wearing a Justice League shirt. And I walked into a store and I was purchasing something. And the nice lady said, hey, we watched the Snyder Cut and we really enjoyed it. And my response to her was, oh, well, you must have a fundamental misunderstanding of the characters. So the question is, I proceeded to talk to her about it for like another 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
But because of my opening, because of how dismissive I was to this lady.
Yeah, you're an asshole.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yep. Can confirm.
I was pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, Jess was looking at me in some kind of way on the way out of it. But I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
so
that I was the asshole.
The real life comic book guy from The Simpsons.
Casey, it was awful.
Not only that, but Brian, if you ever have to ask yourself that question, the answer is yes.
It's always yes. Casey, have you ever done something where while you're doing it, you can see yourself, like you're floating, like, and if you're watching this on YouTube, like you're like, hey bro, eject, and yet you have a 10-minute conversation, basically calling some nice lady selling you a product that you want,
stupid.
A dick. Like, right, stupid. Like, why aren't you getting this right, bitch? Like, oh, it was awful.
Give me my Fritos, whore.
Well, it was a book. I was in a used bookstore.
Even worse.
Did you end up like now? See, what I would do if in your position, I was end up buying like way more than I intended as an apology.
Casey, they have Star Trek books there, and I am appalled at their pricing. That being said, they have like first edition Isaac Asimov books for $2,500. So what I would like to do is just like be able to walk in there for like however long they should end up being open for the next 10 years or 5 years, and just seeing those books sit there and knowing that I can't buy them. Like,
having said that, Brian's behavior makes me a little angry.
I'm so angry at myself.
Makes me a little venti. And stuff.
I'm venting my vape.
Yeah. Makes me a little pissed off. Makes me want to go right ahead and tell everyone to shut up.
We're going to let the band deal with this.
Okay, this is the end of the show in which we give persons, places, and things that are lowering our quality of life and generally giving us the opposite of jollies a hearty, proverbial, or literal shut up! Casey, what do we have from our Facebook group?
Bobby Dirk says, shut up to late-stage capitalism.
Oh, amen, brother.
It's a fun buzz term, and I don't even know what it means anymore, because, like, is it late stage now, or are we just in, like, fourth wave? I don't know.
We're actually in neoliberal capitalism, but yeah, it's fine.
What if we pivoted and went to an era of ethical capitalism?
Listen, now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of the party. I think that's where we're at.
Because that's the only thing that's going to get you out of being poor.
I would really like it if we could nationalize all jobs and all of a sudden I'm a doctor.
You mean Star Trek?
Yes. Exactly.
Right,
Roddenberry utopianism. That's where I live.
Liz G says, shut up to the snake oil salespeople telling people to buy
ivermectin.
Thank you, that thing. Because one study showing it hurt coronavirus in the lab at thousands of times the human dose. I don't know if he's to hear this, but please don't take livestock dewormer.
I'm glad she ended the sentence with that term because, yeah, ivermectin was a thing that we gave dogs that had worms when I was in vet tech.
The good news is through the secret cabal of Jews, I've gotten that baby blood transfusion, so I'm gonna live forever.
Oh, damn
yeah.
it. You got it? I want
it. I got it.
Can I get it through my girlfriend's J card?
Nope, she's a halvesies.
Shit. All right, so we've got one from Twitter from the same guy at Bedpocalypse. He says, "Shut up to insomnia or whatever it is that is preventing me from getting a good night's sleep." Boo earns. Yeah, sleeping should not be this difficult.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Also, shut up to my appliances breaking because my fridge broke.
Well, look, as soon as you get yourself an ALF and then a shady government group, you'll be fine.
Okay. But how do I get rid of the shady government group?
Call them liberals and tweet about it, and then like the Q shaman will show up.
Okay.
I don't know, something. Brian, what do you got?
Hey, shout out to COVID because I wanted to take my girlfriend to a nice opening day over down there at Pickles, and instead there were lines out the door, and it wasn't like so much a one in, one out. It was like hey, we have a capacity line, and no one was leaving. I couldn't get into COVID. I mean, Pickles.
But I would say, Brian, that a good time was had by all regardless.
No. I mean, we nailed it. But, you know, Pickles is a special thing.
Right. I agree. Well, shut up to that. But that has been Shut Up. All right, ladies and germs, this has been episode 357 of the CTB Show, a.k.a. the City That Breeds podcast. The Baltimore Sun Reader's Choice poll is coming out very soon. We will, of course, launch a campaign to get you to vote for us to win.
Listen. We gotta
get nominated first.
We gotta get nominated. And
we are nominated. Let me just tell you, we are nominated.
Okay, great. Look, I've been trying to justify being excited about the honorable mention from the Baltimore Magazine Readers Poll 2020, and
we didn't even campaign for that.
It's been really hard telling my dad's friends about that. Right. And what I would like to tell them this year is that I gotta win.
But they have to vote for you as well.
And honestly, I think those elderly Jews would do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, they should.
I hope so. So we'll see.
Even the non-elderly Jews should do it.
Well, I mean, if they don't, they're anti-Semitic.
That's right.
A vote against us is a vote for Jews. National socialism. Is I think what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
That's the Nazi Party, friend.
Oh, right. That's right. I forgot what that means. All right. Thank you very much for watching this. If you're one of those rare individuals on the YouTubes, and there are at least 3 or 4 of you.
Tell me how good I look.
Yeah, sure. Out of the hundreds of people that listen to this on the audio platform, thank you very much for being a fan. Thank you very much for being a friend. See you next time. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Wow!